What if Palpatine was betrayed by the Senate with Order 65 after Order 66 was executed? Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed. But I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
From the corner of the Senate chamber, Admiral Tarkin listens to the applause and watches as all the senators are caught up in this proclamation, confirming what he already knew, that drastic change will be needed if this empire has any hope of surviving. Once the applause dies down, he activates his repulsor pod and moves it closer.
A fine speech, Emperor. But I have a question. The clones were so quick to turn on their Jedi generals. How can we be sure that they will not do the same to us or other military officials?
Rest assured, Admiral, that the clones are under control. They have pledged loyalty to me.
That is precisely my concern, because my research shows that they obey your order because you activated hidden command codes implanted in them.
A gasp ripples through the room as senators all glance at one another. No one knew about that, and the inhibitor chips were rumors at best. But Tarkin turns it into fact as he begins uploading the same documents on his datapad to their computers. As they scan this information, the Senate begins to look far less certain. Seeing his support crumble away, Palpatine's expression hardens.
And just what is it you are trying to say?
That you, Emperor, have been keeping secrets from us. No one in this Senate chamber was officially told of these inhibitor chips, and I only got my information from trusted contacts on Camino. I certainly agree that the Republic must be reformed, but this is not the man to do it. Instead, I propose we enact Order 65.
As the Senate looks over the order, their eyes widen in surprise that such a thing could be placed. But as they take in everything that Tarkin says, their faces grow resolute, and the vote is cast. To Palpatine's shock, he sees hundreds upon hundreds of senators voting against him. The numbers increase until an overwhelming majority forms. Before he can react, his guards turn against him, quickly escorting him out and executing him quietly. Once Palpatine is gone, Tarkin smiles as he begins to move forward. He had approved of Order 66 due to his belief that the Jedi were dangerous, but with the information that Palpatine was a Force user himself, Tarkin has to act and get rid of him as well. Now with him gone, he can begin creating a proper empire. One of his first courses of action was to conduct a press conference that would explain to the galaxy everything that happened in the Senate. He frames things as the Jedi trying to stage a coup, but also that Palpatine refused to step down, demonizing both parties and using the inhibitor chips as evidence of Palpatine's corruption. With that information, he announces his plan going forward, focusing on improving domestic security to ensure secessionist movements like the CIS may never rise again. He believes with improved security will come more economic growth that can ensure no organization will try to leave the Republic. However, that must start with the reorganization of the Imperial military. The first to go are the clones, which Tarkin deems too easily controlled and too expensive to maintain. He instead announces a plan to let worlds defend themselves by organizing the Stormtrooper Corps. At first, the galaxy cheers on these ideas of peace and stability. In one tavern in the Outer Rim, the patrons all raise their glasses at the news. All except one, Captain Rex. He slips out quietly and considers everything. While he's not sure about all the details, one thing is clear. The clones are on the way out. In the coming weeks, he meets with senators like Bail Organa or Ryo Chuchi to learn more about what happens and how clones are being decommissioned. He begins targeting clones who show signs of dissent, capturing them and removing their inhibitor chips to grow his resistance network. His allies in the Empire help him, giving him a list of targets and locations where he can find clones. For the next few weeks, Rex targets these locations, gathering supplies and more recruits for his resistance network to get it off the ground. Compared to the Imperial monolith, though, it is barely a drop in the bucket. Most of the clones Rex rescues opt to go into hiding, which makes it difficult to grow his forces, as each raid costs him men he cannot replace. The simple truth is that while thousands of clones remain, they aren't enough to truly challenge the Empire. Even elite units like Clone Force 99 have limits, but they begin to work around the problem by recruiting allies beyond clones. The Bad Batch has been causing trouble for the Empire by supporting groups like the Twi'lek Resistance on Ryloth. They suggest Rex can find some allies himself. One group they suggest is Saw Gerrera, who was a former resistance leader under the Republic's employment. He's worked together with Rex and is very vocal about his discontent with the Empire. Rex steps off the rusted transport ship onto Onderon, where the jungle stretches for miles. But he can't help but think back to his first time here. But those were under different circumstances, and he is a different man. He makes his way down to a camp, following the scent of burning wood. There, a ragtag bunch of rebels stand ready, their rifles in their hands as they prepare to fire. Rex spots Saw Gerrera almost immediately in a makeshift command center. The man before Rex looks different, colder, harder, and tired. His armor is scarred and patched with salvaged pieces, and his face bears a fresh cut running down his cheek. It reminds him a bit of himself.
Rex, I heard you were looking for me. Took you long enough to show up.
We've been busy. You seem to be doing all right for yourself.
Don't let appearances fool you. The Empire's been hitting us hard, but we've been hitting back. And every time we do, we make sure they feel it. I hear you've been doing the same.
The Empire's trying to get rid of the clones. We've fought for them for years, and this is the thanks we get. I won't let my brothers just die for nothing.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But this isn't just about the clones anymore, Rex. It's about everyone. The Empire's turning the galaxy into a prison. I've seen what they do to people who resist. Whole villages burned, and families were executed in the streets. They don't care who they hurt. We can't let this happen.
No, we can't.
So here's the deal. You need people, and we need supplies and training. I think we can help each other here.
The weeks that follow are a whirlwind of coordinated attacks. With Saw's tactical expertise and his network of informants, the clones and resistance begin striking at key Imperial supply lines, convoys, and prison camps. They don't just attack on Onderon, but across many different planets, suffering from Imperial rule. They make no secret of these attacks either, loudly broadcasting them to make sure the Empire knows who did it. In a matter of weeks, they do more damage than what Rex and his rebel cell originally did in months. Slowly, the fires of resistance begin spreading across different planets. But as the successes pile up, so do the costs. Saw has long decided that if the Empire won't play by the rules of war, then neither should he, especially to people he deems collaborators. During an operation on a remote mining colony, Saw orders his troops to detonate explosives in a crowded plaza, killing dozens of civilians along with the Imperial officers stationed there. He later plants a bomb in an Imperial party, killing many guests as well as the governor. Later, he uses reprogrammed battle droids to attack a marketplace to distract the Imperial garrison while he frees some prisoners. These are also recorded and broadcast on the HoloNet, though not by Saw. Instead, the Imperials see this as a propaganda opportunity to paint the Resistance as terrorists. The use of clones only makes this worse, as they make it seem as though they are being controlled by Saw and used as soldiers against their will. Rex notices this and confronts Saw.
These attacks aren't necessary. We could have accomplished our mission without putting innocent lives at risk.
Those innocent lives were already dead the moment the Empire moved in. At least now their deaths mean something.
We're supposed to be fighting for the people, not sacrificing them. We're not Tarkin. These people aren't part of this war.
We're fighting to win. These people chose their side when they refused to help us fight the Empire. If you can't handle that, maybe you're not cut out for this.
Rex says nothing, but the conversation stays with him. He knows Saw's methods are extreme, but the results are undeniable. They've gained traction across the galaxy, and more systems are rallying to their cause. However, his protests don't mean much, as many of these systems are more in line with what Saw wants, leaving Rex the minority, and with Saw providing most of their equipment and troops, he is in no position to challenge him. More importantly, they also get information about what's happening. One thing that gets Rex's attention is how more than a few Jedi managed to survive the Purge. There are many reports of Jedi activity across the Outer Rim. Some are simply helping people, but others are actively fighting the Empire. He realizes that Saw will not make for a good public image anymore, save for these extreme groups, and decides that getting some Jedi can give him some leverage and perhaps moderate the groups. He first reaches out for Ahsoka, but she remains in hiding and has no interest in joining the war effort, as she wants to focus on learning about the Force and helping people. She does provide him with the location of another Jedi, Quinlan Vos. The jungle world of Kashyyyk hums with wildlife as the thick canopy casts dappled shadows over the dense undergrowth. Rex steps cautiously through the forest, flanked by a squad of loyal clone veterans. They follow the location Ahsoka marked on their map, which leads to a small hut that Quinlan Vos uses as his home. However, as they approach, a shadow leaps above them and lands on the ground. He unleashes a burst of force energy that throws the clones aside. He whirls and raises his blaster, but then freezes when he sees Quinlan Vos. The Jedi smirks at him and takes a step closer.
What brings you here, clone?
We need your help.
Let me guess. You need help to stop the Empire.
You make it seem as though it doesn't matter.
It does. I'm just not sure you're allies I'd want to work with. You let people like Guerrero run unchecked.
Believe me, I don't want that any more than you. But my hands were tied.
And yet innocent people still died. In the Force, neglect doesn't matter. What matters is the outcome. You were close to him. You could have stopped him. Yet you didn't.
And what have you been doing, Jedi? Hiding out here while my brothers were discarded like trash? While the Empire crushed entire worlds under its boot?
I've been helping the people here. While you were playing soldier and helping terrorists, I was stopping the Empire from carting off these Wookiees. If you want my help, then help me free these people.
Fine. Rex secretly contacts Saw and begins sending weapons here. Missile launchers, blasters, and explosives that could be used to arm Wookiees and take down slaver ships. Meanwhile, Quinlan and the Bad Batch begin organizing counterattacks against the Imperial facilities. They ambush patrols, cut off outposts, and lay traps for Imperial forces. All of this proves to be a big headache for the Empire. Their Trandoshan allies fare a bit better, as their hunters are better able to sniff out traps and fight off Wookiees and clones. This guerrilla war goes on for several weeks, but with steady supplies from Saw, a ragtag militia of Wookiees begins to form, and they prove highly effective at driving out the Imperial forces. For the next several days, the combined efforts of the clones, Vos, and the Wookiees turn Kashyyyk into a battlefield. Each victory is hard fought, and the losses weigh heavily on Rex. He can see the toll it takes on Vos as well, though the Jedi says little. This leads him to organize a bold strike, one that targets one of the main processing facilities for the Wookiee captives. Now that they have a full-sized militia and organization, they decide to risk it. The attack begins just before dawn. Quinlan leads the militia through the dense underbrush, using the jungle as cover to approach the main gates. Meanwhile, Rex and his troops slip toward the shield generator. The Wookiees, with their immense strength and intimate knowledge of the terrain, launch a flanking assault on the facility's perimeter. These Wookiees are armed with traditional weapons and captured Imperial blasters to make it seem less likely that they are part of a larger group. Blaster fire erupts as the clones and militia breach the outer defenses. Quinlan moves like a whirlwind, his dual lightsaber cutting through stormtroopers and Trandoshan slavers. The soldiers with him provide covering fire as Rex sneaks in and disables the shield, allowing them to fire heavier weapons like rockets and explosives that disable their TIE fighters. Inside the facility, alarms blare as the defenders scramble to respond. But this is no ordinary garrison. Out of the chaos steps Crosshair, his sniper rifle slung across his back.
Rex, I knew you couldn't stay away. You've always had a thing for lost causes. Crosshair.
Blaster fire rains down from an elevated position. One nearly hits him, but at the last second a vibroblade comes flying and redirects the shot. Rex signals them to hurry up. Hunter appears behind Rex. Wrecker rushes inside the facility with the Wookiees and clones to try and free the prisoners. But inside, they find not just regular stormtroopers, but elite purge troopers, with their dark armor making them almost indistinguishable from shadows. They rush towards Quinlan and Wrecker, who square off against them. However, the purge troopers fight like nothing they've ever encountered. They are just as well trained as any clone, but their movements are faster and stronger thanks to further training and enhancements. They swing electrostaves that force Quinlan to defend while shocking Wrecker, who stumbles back, but he can still hear the Wookiees behind them and causes Quinlan to roar as he rushes forward, cutting through them and giving Wrecker a chance to recover and join the attack. As Hunter and Rex reach Crosshair's position, they find that he's already moved to a new location and continues to fire at them with near pinpoint accuracy. The only thing that saves Rex from being cut down is Hunter's enhanced senses. They rush through the facility, but each corner is a hazard as one of Crosshair's mirrors nearly cuts them down or a stray grenade explodes by blaster shot. But as they battle, the remaining clones free the captive Wookiees, and a ship prepared by Echo and Tech is waiting for them to fly off. The final push into the heart of the facility is brutal. Crosshair takes up a new position, picking off Wookiee warriors and clones with unerring accuracy. Rex finally spots him perched atop a watchtower. Hunter and Rex are about to charge when Quinlan appears behind them, his body covered in cuts, but he smiles. Suddenly, he grabs them both and uses the Force to lift them off the ground towards the tower. Crosshair gasps and turns to face them, but Hunter is faster. He jabs his vibroblade into Crosshair's sniper and tries to disarm him. However, the sniper kicks him back and tries to pull out a pistol. Rex is faster and shoots it out of his hand. He swings his rifle and sends Hunter reeling and then moves behind him to wrap it up around his throat. However, Rex pulls him off and gets a gut punch in response. The two trade blows, though Crosshair gets the worst of it, and he is forced to divide his attention between the two of them. Hunter manages to pick up Crosshair's fallen blaster and fires a stun round at him. Slinging the unconscious Imperial over his shoulder, they drag him back to the waiting ship. However, their victory is short-lived, as soon the Empire retaliates. Not just here, but across the Outer Rim. Entire villages are razed in retaliation for supporting rebel cells. Families of rebels are arrested, while public executions become a common spectacle. Tarkin justifies these actions as necessary measures to maintain order, but across the galaxy his policies breed resentment and fear. Conscription is one of the most controversial ideas, as the battles these new stormtroopers face are brutal, and many question whether it is worth it. But one of the planets hit hardest is Kashyyyk. Dozens of villages are struck in retaliation for the escaped slaves. The news hits Quinlan the worst, as he locks himself into his chambers and tries to meditate on it.
You know we did well today.
Tell that to the Wookiees in those villages. I came here to protect those Wookiees, to keep them from the Empire's grip.
No one gets to sit this one out, Jedi. Not me, not you, not the Wookiees. We all have something to lose.
And what about Guerrera? How many innocent people are you willing to sacrifice by working with him?
I don't like working with him, but that ship has sailed, and if we don't do something, he will only get stronger, and he'll be the guy dictating terms.
Well, let's finish what we started.
Rex and his allies use these atrocities as rallying cries, broadcasting footage of Imperial atrocities to inspire uprising on countless worlds. Even in the Senate, there are growing concerns of these atrocities. Bail Organa and his faction criticize Tarkin for his management of the Empire, pointing out that he was the one who failed to bring peace to the Empire as he promised. The darkness over Coruscant is pierced by the brilliant streaks of starships descending toward the surface. A bold assault is underway. For the first time in years, the 501st find themselves back in the Jedi Temple, but now as liberators. Quinlan Voss, his green lightsaber blazing as he leaps down and leads the assault. Beside him, the Bad Batch minus Crosshair leads the attack. They are joined by a few Wookiee warriors and other volunteers, who rush on at the small stormtrooper garrison. These are easy prey to their forces, as they efficiently cut through them and rush to the top of the steps, securing critical points of the temple just as it lights up with blaster fire, sending civilians scattering to avoid the escalating violence. But as they push deeper, they begin to encounter more resistance. Elite purge troopers rush to face them, and half a dozen of them circle Quinlan, striking with their staves and keeping him from getting away. More rush to the Bad Batch, who scramble to deal with them. Quinlan growls and feels the electricity clatter around him as their staves nearly take him again and again. He glares as they all come at him at once, but then unleashes a wave of force energy that throws them back. He growls and rushes at them one at a time. While still deadly, they pose far less of a threat. Hunter then tosses a thermal detonator, filling the room with smoke as it throws aside a pair of purge troopers. While they are down, Wrecker grabs them and hurls them at a group of their advancing companions. Hunter parries another soldier's axe with his knife and kicks him aside, letting Tech finish him off as he provides covering fire. Echo, meanwhile, begins turning the temple's security system against the Imperials. Doors are closed, locking Imperials into chambers while lights go out, allowing the clones to take them out. And then training droids come to life and attack them.
Hunter, left corridor. More coming.
Echo reroutes power to the doors, slowing them down until Wrecker can come barreling through and sweeps them off their feet. As another group tries to come from another door, Hunter tosses a thermal detonator, and the explosion reverberates through the ancient halls. Quinlan pushes forward, carving a path through the defenders. He pauses briefly as he reaches the central chamber of the temple, his gaze darkening as he takes in the desecration of this sacred space.
This place was meant for peace, and now it's nothing but a symbol of oppression. Then we tear it down.
The battle intensifies as more purge troopers flood the temple. Wrecker roars with exhilaration as he rushes down the halls, shrugging off their attacks as the others follow behind them. Suddenly, Hunter senses something and raises his vibroblade as an Inquisitor leaps down, swinging his lightsaber. Quinlan pushes him behind him and kicks him aside, his lightsaber meeting the red blade. Their duel is fierce, the Inquisitor's movements swift and brutal. But Voss, fueled by years of survival and rebellion, presses forward. With a final, precise strike, he disarms the Inquisitor and sends him sprawling. While the battle rages on, Rex infiltrates the Senate building. He slips past the disorganized guards, taking advantage of the chaos spreading across the city. With the attack on the temple, the Imperial troops are being scrambled to deal with them, leaving the Senate building open. By the time he arrives, senators argue heatedly over the escalating rebellion and the failures of Tarkin's leadership. Rex strides into the chamber, his armor scorched and his blaster holstered. The senators fall silent as he approaches the central podium.
Emperor Tarkin, I've come to bargain.
As if you have anything I require from you, clone.
I could say the same thing for you, Emperor. You claim to represent the people, but you've become no better than the Emperor you overthrew. You have lost control, and his rule has brought more war and suffering to the galaxy than ever before. But I can help fix it.
How dare you address us with such disrespect, clone? You are nothing but a relic of the past, a tool that has outlived its usefulness. That is a person, Speaker. One whose military record has proven to be more successful than our emperor's.
A relic? Maybe. But I remember what this republic once stood for, and I won't let you erase the sacrifices of my brothers or the Jedi who gave their lives for your freedom. I am willing to surrender myself and order my troops to stand down if Tarkin is removed from power and the republic is restored. If you have any sense of duty left, you'll remove him before he brings the galaxy to ruin.
Some senators shout their displeasure at being ordered around by a clone, but Bail Organa and his faction suddenly raise their voices in support. They remind them that Tarkin has failed to deliver on his promise of peace. Thanks to Rex, they have managed to gather evidence of the Empire's misdeeds over the years and use it to call a vote of no confidence. And just as Palpatine was removed years ago, Tarkin is removed now. However, Rex is still an outlaw and is held in custody, though his clones are given amnesty as Rex takes full responsibility for his men. Rex is soon taken to Coruscant prison, where he will remain as punishment. Tarkin soon joins him, as the investigation regarding his actions in the Empire concludes that he has far exceeded his authority, committing war crimes that deem him a criminal. But while Rex may be in prison, his men rally around Quinlan Voss, who takes command and now works to limit the destruction caused by Saw Gerrera. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.